3 movies yesterday.
Really? What'd you see?
I watched 4, I think. I just we're not recording yet, are we?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, good. I just signed on another company called Cheesy Pictures. I mean, does that sound perfect for me or what?
Yeah, this is a company that's in business to make money, right?
Yeah. they sent me this movie called
distributing
Snake People. So
off the beaten path.
Yeah, these are definitely
films.
This movie called Snake People with Boris Karloff, who looks like he's barely alive in it.
Never heard of it.
It's about voodoo and Haitian rituals and all this. It was pretty good.
Man, I tried to put some time in. What else did you watch?
Ilsa. Remember Ilsa, She-Wolf for the SS?
Yes, I do.
This was the sequel where she's Ilsa the...
With Sybil Danning? Yeah.
Is that who it is?
Well, she's Ilsa.
Yeah.
First film.
So it's a Ilsa sequel. I saw that. And what else did I watch? It's all a blur now. I've been watching these. There's this Redemption Films have been putting out these French vampire movies. So I watched the French vampire movie from the 70s.
Redemption Films.
Yeah.
Is this like a company that specializes in European horror?
Yeah.
Salvation Films? Redemption Films? It's also the same thing?
I don't know. They're mainly like Rape of the Vampire, the Nude Vampire, Kiss of the Naked Vampire, Raping a Naked Kissing Vampire.
It's Diabolique territory.
Yeah, it is. Wow. It is. They're pretty insane.
I tried to put in some real good time watching Catching Up last night.
Yeah.
Watched the rest of Hondo. And I watched all the extra features on Hondo, and tried to start watching. Just got Harold and Maude. I watched a half hour of that last night before I fell asleep. I was physically unable to keep on going.
That's how I feel about Harold and Maude. I've never liked that movie.
All right. We don't have to talk about it on this episode.
Okay, good.
But
you're going to try to tell me I'm wrong?
Well, you are wrong.
Ruth Gordon is the Antichrist to me.
Yeah. And Badass, the Danny Trejo film. I didn't get to watching, but I started watching it. But I did get to finishing Playback and a bunch of flicks from Robert Downey Jr. No, it's not. I mean, I think Did you watch Playback? Did you see it?
Nope.
Okay, there's an interesting scene involving Christian Slater, who's really a supporting character that gets top billing. But
stop picking at
I'll
that.
get to it. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a habit.
Well, I'm in visual range.
Scab.
Cut that out.
It's better than last week's itch. Oh, my God.
All right.
And I just published that episode yesterday. So I hope everybody listening enjoyed it. And first of all, I want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast. We absolutely, totally, and utterly, completely appreciate it. We're very grateful for it. And by the way, the podcast you're listening to is the Post Movie Podcast. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
And on this episode, we're going to talk about new Blu-ray and DVD releases, some of which are sitting next to my right, some of which I guess are behind John there on the chair.
Or at least the paper that they sent with it. Lugging stuff around.
The press release. The press release works just as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you've watched the film,
It's actually better because then I'm just sitting there going, and who's in that movie? Oh, let me think. Can you look it up? This way, at least I have some material in my hand. So when I talk about a movie, I can say, oh.
And it helps me because, I try very hard not to look stuff up online while recording because I don't want to fuck up the recording, which it has before, which was the reason we lost the Hunger Games episode. If the fucking computer gums up,
the legendary
man,
Hunger Games episode.
That's it, So I don't want that to happen.
Well, Steve, honors to you. What did you got?
Well, I think I'm going to start off with a title from Criterion's Eclipse series, which is Up All Night with Robert Downey Sr. Mm-hmm. It's Eclipse Series 33, and on the disc is a number of his films. Babo 73 from 1963. Chafed Elbows, No More Excuses, Putney Swope from 1969, and the one film I haven't seen yet from 1975, 2 Tons of Turquoise to Taos Tonight. It's a tongue twister.
How are they?
Overall, these films, they represent, each of them are an example of his complete lack of inhibition. Just doing, maybe this is where underground filmmaking was in the 60s, they're just representative of a total lack of inhibition. And some of them, just have the thinnest thread of a storyline.
Right.
They're like performance pieces in a way. But they're fascinating. I find it fascinating watching these films and imagining the audience that they were intended for, and then wondering, well, why was this film so successful in Greenwich Village in 1966? Why was this other film so successful, on the Upper East Side in 1968?
Drugs.
Yeah, it's saying something about the culture at the time, even though he thought he was making, ephemera. Things that just really didn't matter so much, and he was surprised that years later that his films were picked by the Film Foundation for restoration. That Scorsese was going to help him restore these flicks or just do it, and he was just he didn't think that there was really much to it, but regardless, he captured something. The first film in the collection, these Eclipse series films, are designed as a series of films by a director or directors which sort of represent a Cinematheque presentation. So the first one they have on the disc is Babo 73, or Babo 73, starring Taylor Mead. And Taylor Mead plays the President of the United States, and it's basically a film that was designed to showcase the eccentricities of Taylor Mead. I mean, the guy is a goofball. And he being Robert Downey Sr., had seen Taylor Mead in a film made in 1960, 61, I think it was, called The Flower Thief. That I think I mentioned it previously on the podcast, but it screened at Harvard last year when they honored Taylor Mead. And so after seeing that, Downey created Babo 73 for him, which he plays this warped version of the President of the United States, who assassinates the President of Lithuania and just makes all sorts of cockamamie decisions. But they just filmed it like they were on some sort of lark about town in Washington, D.C.
You probably were.
Basically that's kind of what it was, with Taylor Mead apparently improvising on the steps of the Capitol and then in front of the White House, which they were surprisingly, I guess, able to get close to, because at the time they were filming, Kennedy was, in Europe or something like that.
Right,
So
alive.
Security wasn't alive, and security wasn't as tough. And so it's like a 1963 performance piece. The second film on the disc, Chafed Elbows. It's this film that is like, the type of movies that are just like a collection of photographs. Like photograph that are just like put together.
Ken Burns?
Kind of something like French director Chris Marker might do. I don't know if you're...
Nope.
A jeté? Okay. Well, it's about this guy who the doctors have determined is pregnant. And his pregnancy is such that he gives birth to about $1,800 via cesarean section.
Yeah. And why are they preserving these movies?
They're just like, they're surreal, scatological performance pieces in a way. But I think the amusing thing about Chafed Elbows is that it stars Elise Downey, his wife, and she plays all the female characters in the film. And it's like, again, a performance piece.
Yeah.
An interesting bit of editing and collating all these photographs and whatnot into a story. And it was very successful in 1966 in Greenwich Village as an underground film. And the success of Chafed Elbows allowed Downey to make No More Excuses, which... How would I describe the film? Okay, what happened with this film is that Downey was employed by ABC News to do a whole bunch of interviews on the single life in downtown Manhattan. And they ended up not using a bunch of stuff. And he edited into a piece in which he decided to use as a thread the story of this Civil War soldier, played by Downey, who all of a sudden finds himself in Central Park in 1966. It follows Downey all the way to Yankee Stadium, where he is actually arrested for walking onto the field. And it's intercut with this other story of a guy who's, how the fuck do I do? You know what the tough part is like, how the fuck do you explain this stuff?
I don't know, you lost me.
Yeah, you've got the Manhattan singles scene, you've got the soldier wandering around Manhattan, and then you've got this couple that are going to get together, and make love in this apartment. And what ultimately happens is that this guy turns out to be a priest, and he's got a monkey with him, and he stands there in this room after having just made love to the woman. He has this monkey make love to the woman with the priest watching it. And then there you have it.
That's art, man. That's an artistic statement,
in addition to that, you've got these other commercials that Downey made in the 60s that were rejected by the people who employed him. So, if I recall, one of the commercials is a commercial for Preparation H, in which an Asian woman says to the camera, "No matter what your ethnic affliction, use Preparation H and kiss your hemorrhoids goodbye."
Okay.
And then there's the classic 1969 flick Putney Swope. Have you seen Putney Swope?
A long time ago.
I was led to wonder if it was a title that was previously released by Criterion.
I don't know.
But it's something that came about because of Downey's prior experience in the advertising industry in New York. Mm-hmm. And the film itself is the story of this advertising company where the board gets together and the president of the company, who's well-loved, dies of a heart attack during a meeting. Mm-hmm. And so after this, they check the bylaws, and it says that when somebody dies, there's to be a company vote, or a vote by the board of directors, and whoever wins the vote is the new president of the company. Mm-hmm. And so they cast their votes, and it turns out most of the people who cast their votes voted for the person they thought was least likely to win or successfully lead the company. And it turns out to be Putney Swope, who was the musical director at the company, a black fella. And when Putney takes over, things just completely change. He has complete control of the company. The first thing he does is he changes the name of the company, the Truth and Soul Inc., and he becomes this like dictator, directing the future of the company, that they're not going to do any more commercials about war toys or cigarettes or alcohol. And it's just a complete implosion of the company. Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I saw it a long time ago. I don't really remember much about it. But at least it sounds like something I would revisit compared to the other movies.
Yeah, it's definitely it's an affecting film. It's super strange in the sense that the guy who plays Putney Swope apparently couldn't remember his lines really well, so Downey Sr. dubs his voice throughout the entire flick, and it's just weird. Yikes. Yeah, it's a strange one. The last one on the disc, 2 Tons of Turquoise to Taos Tonight. Haven't seen it, but it was produced by Jack Nicholson and Hal Ashby, so apparently it's just a continuing hodgepodge of what we've already experienced with the prior films.
Well, you deserve some kind of medal, Steve, for going through that set.
I can't wait to see 2 Tons of Taos. 2 Tons of Turquoise tonight. Whatever it is. I'm looking forward to it. The thing with like these Robert Downey Sr. films is like when the films don't have a clear narrative thread, they're harder to talk about. And I think, like, through this whole collection, mostly it's just that these films are like an example of his inhibitions. Right. It just being, he's just randomly putting what he wants to put on film. And, they don't make sense, really. And
right. So, just playing devil's advocate, why would I watch something that doesn't make sense like that?
Well, I think they represent, like, the underground movement at the time. Yeah. Like, these things were unusual at the time. They're not, these kind of things we maybe see all the time now, but, like, this was unusual stuff in the late 60s. It's
kind of like watching those Andy Warhol movies.
Normal, it's like that.
What's the fucking point?
It's a...
I'm like, ooh, look, it's an egg on a table. Okay.
This is like breaking the laws of film, This is breaking the laws of the studio system. This is outside stuff, outside underground stuff.
Okay.
It's hard because I think, one tries to put themselves in the mindset of, like, what the audience wants in the late 60s. And these films were successful.
In Greenwich Village.
And on the Upper East Side, yeah.
Yeah, so that little block of New York, they were successful, while the rest of the world went, what the fuck?
Apparently, like, this movie, No More Excuses, there's only one existing 16-millimeter copy that they were able to get their hands on and
it's a
transfer for this release.
Cinephiliacs.
Yeah.
Yikes.
John, what do you got?
After that?
Yeah.
I'm going to start, because it is Memorial Day weekend, a movie called Memorial Day. It's a story. It's interesting because it's a grandfather telling his grandson about his experiences in World War I, and that grandson, as he's grown up and fighting the war in Iraq, telling his experiences to a nurse after he's been injured and he's put in the hospital. They're trying to. The weird thing is they're trying to sell it as a war movie, There are some battle scenes in it, but it's really a story about veterans and how they can't.
This is
talk.
a recent film?
Yeah, it just came out. It came out on the 29th.
John, you know what? I just want to get back to Robert Downey Sr. for a second. You know what it is about that? It's like when I'm talking about all the like strange fucking films like that, it's not so much a conversation. You know what I mean? It's like I'm still trying to understand these films that I've seen, and it's less of a conversation between the two of us. You know, it's like a film that like.
Well, I didn't jump in like
yeah, no, that's kind of what you know happens with something like that. Like if I'm going on about some fucking Andy Warhol film or something, you know, it's not the conversation. It's just like this film exists and I'm trying to understand it. Well, there's a whole collection of them for you. It's on the Eclipse series. Memorial Day.
Director Sam Fisher does a good job. Like I said, they try to sell it as a war movie, but it's really about veterans and their inability to talk about what they went through with the people they come back to after fighting war. Yeah. And it's just a nice tribute on Memorial Day to watch a movie like this.
Is it a documentary?
No, it's a drama. It's a straight movie. Whatever they call those. Feature film. But it's well done. Good acting. James Cromwell plays the old guy. He's always fun to watch. Battle scenes are really well directed. It has heart. So it's worth checking out, especially because it is Memorial Day.
Well, we got something we can talk about.
What's that?
Goon. That fucking film, Goon, that works.
Did you get a chance to see it?
I didn't, for whatever happened, you know, my fucking schedule, I don't know. I didn't get to see it in theaters, and I guess I regret that. But, you know, Magnolia pretty much, they make their films pretty much available immediately for download online. You know,
you could see this on demand weeks before it hit theaters, and a lot of people did. Yeah, a lot of people saw it in theaters and then went back to get it on demand again. I'm glad it's out on DVD finally.
Yeah, it's kind of a no-holds-barred film, you know. If I was to sum it up in like really quickly, it's fucking bloody and violent and brutish and entertaining, you know, because of that, because of the fact that it doesn't hold back, you know.
I think you speak about something that doesn't hold back. I think this is the best performance I've ever seen Sean William Scott give as the Goon. There's something psychotically fascinating about watching this guy. He's so nice and polite, and he'll beat the shit out of you, you know, on the other team. He's like, well, do you want to fight? Okay. And then he'll brutally beat this guy into the ice.
Something, you know, it's like he's got a brick in his head.
Yeah.
He's an entertaining simpleton.
He's fascinating to watch in this movie, as is the young lady who plays the hockey
Allison Pill.
groupie. Yeah. She's they're all good. Jay Baruchel's great as the annoying roommate.
Yeah, he wrote the film with Evan Goldberg, who has collaborated with Seth Rogen on a number of films. That's where he's made his name with, you know, like Superbad and Pineapple Express and whatnot. So he and Baruchel wrote the script for Goon, and I think they're both Canadian.
Oh, yeah.
I know Baruchel is. And so this is coming from where they are, you know, what they've grown up with. This is like the heart of hockey in a way. Yeah. Not the hockey that maybe we know, you know, in the sense is like, you know, NHL, but, you know, the underground.
Yeah.
The
minor league.
Yeah. In the Canadian hockey structure.
And they have a great performance by Liev Schreiber as the aging hockey goon who, you know, he's close to retirement. He's stuck in the minors still.
Yeah, he is like Philadelphia Flyers 70s kind of goon here.
Yeah. They have great mustaches. But, entertaining, well shot, good sense of humor. Yeah. Nice little bit of romance.
The film makes no bones about, at least the players in the film or the story makes no bones about the fact that there's this difference between playing hockey and fighting. Right. And the fact that they allow it, and the fact that they allow these guys to just beat the shit out of each other. But what the beating the shit out of each other does is it inspires the rest of the team to play well. Yeah. I mean, because you got to have balls. You basically, at the center of what they're doing here, is you got to have some brutal shit going on to inspire the other guys to play well. It's not the philosophy that everybody agrees with, but I think it's something that definitely exists, you know? Right, you can scare the shit out of the other team, too.
And that's why they hire this guy, Doug the Goon, you know, because they see him in a fight. Yeah. Before, you know, he can't even skate, really. They have to teach him how to play hockey, but they know he can fight. And I guess it's based on the real story about a guy in the minor leagues. If you stay, there's some clips and extras that'll give you the real story. So, yeah, it's not.
It's
like
about
the
a guy who has, he just has this
seen.
like one talent that the guy sticks with.
Yep.
And he's also certainly a minority in the hockey world. He's a Jewish hockey player. And
well, it's very touching in the movie the way he's like the bad. His parents are very dominating. His brother's a doctor and gay, and he's the successful.
And he's very defensive about his brother being gay, so
right.
he lashes out about that.
But the thing is, this guy Doug has never found his place in the world, and he sees this as his place, is to fight in hockey games, and he's really proud of the fact that now he's got a job, he's got a career.
Yeah, and also that he doesn't get the broader concept surrounding fighting, surrounding the like the ring-like wrestling nature of this. It's just lost on him. So he's like, just a simpleton, just doing what he does. Yeah. He just sticks with what he does. Whereas you've got the Liev Schreiber character who, gets it. He knows what he's all about.
Right.
He knows that he's just basically there to beat the shit out of you. And, so their paths cross. Schreiber's on his way down from, I can't remember he's on his way down from the NHL, whereas Doug's on his way up. And they meet, in the middle. These two guys who are the best at beating the shit out of each other are finally going to be in a game together, which actually means something.
Yeah, of course it's got to be like a championship game, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
just for the drama of it all.
Yeah, and you mentioned Alison Pill's character. She plays an interesting character who's also unapologetic, and I think that what's kind of is shared with the characters in this movie is that they're unapologetic for what they do. I mean, maybe Liev Schreiber feels bad about beating the shit out of each other. I don't know, but
she sleeps with a lot of guys.
She basically says to him, "You don't want to be with me. I'm a bad girlfriend. I have low morals. I get turned down by hockey guys who beat the shit out of each other, and I sleep. I can't be, But I think what sells him to her is the fact that he's so clueless and he's like a puppy dog. He's loyal.
Well, yeah, I think he's loyal. I don't think he's as dumb as you did. I think he's maybe not. I don't think he's clownishly stupid.
No, I don't. I didn't mean to.
I think he's just
give the impression that he was, but he's not smart in the ways of love or certainly the experiences that she's had and maybe the things that she's done to guys. She doesn't want him to be hurt,
right?
But maybe he's just got a thicker exterior,
and there's
she's
also
attracted to that.
There's a young up-and-coming hotshot hockey player in the mix here, too.
Yeah.
Rock star kind of hockey player that Doug has to Doug has to room with. Yeah. That's pretty funny, too. Yeah. I think great characters, great hockey. What's not to like?
Yeah, I'd be interested to see. It was directed by Michael Dowse. I don't know what he's done before, but this is something that definitely worked, and I'd be interested in seeing what he can do. Maybe there's something here. I think the way that this film is edited together, it's visceral, and it's and the way they use the slow motion in this film too. Really focus in on the blood splatters that hit the ice.
Who knew a tooth could take so long falling to hit the ice?
Yeah, it's brutal in its way, and so it's something that I think that Jay Baruchel, who's been in a bunch of big films, was able to put together, and I hope that maybe they can do more stuff like this. Maybe they've got an ensemble thing here that'll happen.
They should do every
He's engaged
sport.
to Alison Pill. Actually,
who is
Jay Baruchel?
Good man. High five.
It's his girlfriend.
Maybe they should do every sport.
Yeah, well,
the lesser-known sports.
They did this. This I would like to say was critically, it's good. Yeah. If I had to recommend a movie right now for someone to see immediately, go rent it, go buy it. Goon is the one.
Date movie. Maybe.
It's funny.
If your girl likes hockey.
It's all these things. It's funny. It's violent. It's an example of good writing and good filmmaking. John, what do you got?
The Secret World of Arrietty. Which is from Ghibli Studios, but not by the same director who did all the Ghibli studio films we know.
So Ghibli produced it, but it's not a Miyazaki film.
It's not a Miyazaki film. It's by, I'm trying to find the director's name, It's directed by one of Miyazaki's not students. You know the word I'm thinking about?
Protégés.
Prodigies, right? Protégés. Anyway, it's based on you ever see or hear the story of The Borrowers or see the movie The Borrowers?
Yes.
It's about little people who live in a house and they live by borrowing sugar or needles or thumbtacks or whatever they need, and they have this whole other world behind the walls of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And this boy, he's sick, so they send him out to the country, and he goes to a house that has borrowers in it, and he befriends them.
Mm-hmm.
Nice story, nicely told, beautiful art. The way they capture the world of these little people, where a raindrop is a day's water supply and stuff like that. Just the way they shoot it is really beautiful.
Are you a big Ghibli fan?
Yeah, I am. Great voice work from everyone from Will Arnett and Amy Poehler to Carol Burnett.
Is this the re-edited American version? I mean, like, on this disc, are you just getting the English dialogue dubbed version, or do you also get the Japanese original? Or is it not possible to have the Japanese original because that version has been re-edited?
Have you been talking to Brett? Sounds like I'm talking to Brett. He was saying the same stuff as soon as I left the movie.
I'm curious. I'm just curious. Brett, for those of you listening, is Brett Michelle, film critic for the Boston Herald.
No, you can get the original audio, Japanese.
Yeah. Okay.
But I've said it before. I'm not a big fan of Japanese in my anime.
You are a big fan of Japanese anime.
No, I prefer dubbed
voices
right. Than just because I like looking at the art so much.
So you are the anime fan who digs the American dubbed versions as opposed to the original Japanese dialogue.
Pisses Brett off too.
It's a purist thing, and sometimes I think that people are so into being a purist that it's like fucking painful.
Right.
Right. I just want to watch what's more entertaining to me.
Right. They can. That's it, and it's just to me. There are some. I get some anime where you can't watch anything but subtitles, and that's fine. Yeah. But it just pulls me out. So anyway, I recommend Secret World of Arrietty. It's really good.
Cool, man. I got to talk about Hondo, which comes out on Blu-ray this week. The film was made in 1953. It was a 3D film. Mm-hmm. But apparently, very few people have ever seen this film in 3D because when it came out in 1953, it only played for a week in 3D. And then they had Paramount. No, I guess Warner Brothers was the distributor of it at the time. Paramount is now. But since then, it's been always in 2D. But John Wayne's son, I think with a number of other Batjack films, and Batjack is John Wayne's production company, or the company that was formed to, make his films. 20 years ago, they had released Hondo, and or it was one of the films that they had attempted to restore, but technology wasn't where it is at now, so that they could do that. But they've been able to restore it, and it is in pristine condition. I mean, it looks fantastic. The movie, although it was filmed in 3D, there's very little of it that actually plays to its 3D-ness. I mean, I think there's like a moment in the knife fight towards the end, and then there's like some gunshots or something like that. But basically, it's a film that used 3D to enhance its ambiance. And it just looks great. And the score is just phenomenal. And I also want to say, okay, so this was, I think, Geraldine Page's first film role. Okay. I made a big mistake in a prior episode of the podcast where I was talking about Hondo. And I got Geraldine Page and Brenda Fricker mixed up. It was Brenda Fricker who had won an Academy Award for My Left Foot, and a year or so later starred in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. So just as I really kind of fucked that one up. I get my older actress. I got my older actresses mixed up there. But anyway, Hondo is out. It looks fucking amazing, and there's some great making of material on it. And I listened last night to the audio commentary with Leonard Maltin, and Lee Aker, who played the kid in the film, also does the audio commentary on the disc. And it's just a lot of good stuff for a John Wayne fan. I mean, it just looks so fucking good. I couldn't recommend it more. John, what do you have? Mutant something.
Mutant Girl Squad, which, John Wayne stars. No.
Yeah.
I'm going to just read the lead sentence to the press release, and I apologize again for my pronunciation.
Yeah, go for it.
3 leaders in the Japanese splatter movement: Noboru Iguchi, who did The Machine Girl.
Yeah, lots of blood.
Yoshihiro Nishimura, who did Tokyo Gore Police. Yep, lots of blood. and Tak Sakaguchi, who did Yori Samurai Zombie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. So these guys are known for this Japanese splatter.
Yeah.
Which means people are hacked to pieces, and it's like they've got like a fire hose of red that just
fire
shoots
hose
out.
blood.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
put your thumb over the hose and spray it type of blood.
Right. Spray it everywhere. Don't just punch someone, punch through their head. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this is a story about a young girl. When she turns 16, her hand turns into this giant claw kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And she goes to her parents, and they say, well, we weren't going to tell you until it happened, but you're an alien. And the other girls come around and say, hey, you're one of us, join us, become part of the mutant girl squad who go out and battle
mutants.
Other mutants, yeah. They're mutants. It's kind of like the X-Men with
it's
gore and guts and boobs. And each girl has a different power. Like one of them has a chainsaw that comes out of her butt. One of them has samurai swords that come out of her boobs. So having just a claw is kind of a bargain.
And these are like things at the end of an arm or something?
No.
Or does you just have like a chainsaw in the butt?
A chainsaw just comes out of her butt, and she runs backwards and fights people.
So instead of a bunny tail, she's got
a chainsaw.
Okay.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insanely violent and way over the top.
How do you fight with swords coming out of your breasts?
You charge in and just
dexterity with your shoulders?
Yeah, it's a lot of shoulder movements. It's a lot of, stripper pole stuff. Huh. But it's they don't really fight that much. It's more the girls with they fight guys who have you remember Clockwork Orange, right?
Yes.
Remember Alex's mask with the nose?
Sure.
They have masks like that, and they shoot bullets out of their noses. I don't know why. I don't know why any of this shit happens, but it's hilarious to watch.
Check out the trailer online, people.
Yeah. It's Mutant Girl Squad. Look for the red band trailer, and you'll get an idea of what I'm trying to tell you.
Blood sprayed
splatter
everywhere. Not so much happening in playback. It's a new release from Magnolia Pictures. It's with Johnny Picard and Christian Slater, and it's this kid who works at a TV station in the bowels of their video department, and he discovers these videos that were basically, coverage of a murder that happened in town years ago, and some sort of evil poltergeist demon or something like that from the videotapes inhibits this kid, and the kid starts murdering other kids in town. Yeah, inhabits. I get inhibits and inhabits.
Okay.
It inhabits this kid, so he becomes less inhibited and starts murdering some of the other high school kids in town. And one of these other high school kids is, for his journalism class, putting together a story, coincidentally, on these murders that happened 20 years ago. Oh, and then there's Christian Slater, who is the kind of dirty cop who is investigating these murders.
God.
And it's kind of a middle-of-the-road PG-13. It's like softcore horror.
Right. We need
it's
more.
Not even... it's tame.
Yeah.
It's just tame. And it's edited together in such a way that it has like all this like scratchy visceralism to it, but Christian Slater is really sort of a supporting character. Mm-hmm. And the only two even mildly interesting things about the film, I think, were the fact that he's a dirty cop, and one of the girls, she's kind of also possessed by this paranormal entity who uses the girl to do a sort of lap dance, sort of to try to seduce Christian Slater. Yeah, the PG-13 version of the lap. But it culminates in the one scene in the film that was like, wow, that was kind of amusing. That was kind of,
all right.
And
these are VHS
up.
Tapes, huh?
Yeah.
Does anyone remember those
videotapes?
Will anyone,
I think they're actually
Blu-ray.
They're more like Betacam tapes, smaller, something like that.
Where's the Laserdisc killer, Steve?
I don't know. But it's another film. I wanted it to be better. I wanted it to be something that it just ultimately wasn't. It's basically like a cheeseball teenage 20-something horror flick. It's like a horror flick that a bunch of kids would rent.
Yeah.
And this would basically,
10-year-olds, 12-year-olds.
I don't know.
And they'd have nightmares.
But it's
over it.
it's cool to that age group. It didn't do it for me.
Well,
I don't know what.
What was do you remember your first horror movies?
Yeah, mine would. I guess I'm kind of skewed in my opinion, but Halloween was really the first one that like lasered my head with horror films, and how cool it can be. and this is so entirely derivative. It's like a Disney Channel horror film with blood.
It's like when they
and it's like all the
and
actors are like,
Pretty.
it's like soap opera pretty and soap opera affectations.
Yeah.
I just because the filmmakers just don't see this.
I remember seeing Dr. Phibes when I was a kid with Vincent Price. Did you ever see this movie?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. It's still really good. And this is one I don't know why they don't remake this. Vincent Price is the title's The Abominable Dr. Phibes.
Mm-hmm.
And he kills a series of people, maybe like 9 or 10 people. He kills them all according to ancient Jewish law of revenge. So one of them has to be killed by locusts.
There's
one of them has to be
Jewish
killed
law of revenge
in this movie. There are. One of them has to be killed by locusts. One of them has to be killed by having his blood drained. They all have to die certain specific ways. So he comes up with these crazy plans on how to kill all these people. To find out that these were all the people who operated on his son one night after a car accident, and his son died on the operating table. So his revenge is to kill all the people who let his son die. And he's Vincent Price's face, but his mouth never moves. He talks through a plug in his throat.
What year was this?
70 something. So I was like 12 or 13 when I saw this.
Yeah.
And Joseph Cotton was in it. Terry Thomas was in it. But there's a scene where you find he's got Joseph Cotton's son on the operating table, and he's got to operate to get the key out of his son's chest to open the lock before the acid falls down on his son's face. There's a lot of what do they call those, Rube Goldberg devices in these movies. So he goes, so then you find out, that's when you discover that Dr. Phibes doesn't talk because he was horribly disfigured in this car accident and his son died.
Oh, right.
And he rips off his face and he's got this gross face. I remember seeing that twice in one day. Yeah. It was back when you walked in and
it's actually kind of a well-known film. I haven't seen it.
So
this is the video we're talking about. Go rent this one.
Yeah,
go see this
I would
one.
definitely rent that. It was the first review I did on DVD a day.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I would highly recommend. We need to talk about Kevin.
Wow.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, that movie is like in a disturbing zone.
Yeah.
Talking about zombies, though. Talk about zombie acting. Like we were just earlier talking about Moonrise Kingdom. This is like Tilda Swinton in such a mode that like she can't. She's just she lives depressingly. Her head is in a zone that like no happiness is allowed.
And her son is the devil's spawn.
Well,
and this isn't a horror movie.
That kind of affects people.
Yeah, it's about a mother and her son who is something's wrong with the kid, but no one ever talks about it. And no one believes her because she's around him all the time. She sees his outrageous behavior, and the father doesn't believe her, and no one really supports her, and the kid gets weirder as time goes on.
In a way, I felt like I had to put up with this movie. It was trying. It's just like in such a fucked up, depressing zone. The way she lives, it's like she's been obviously just so shell shocked.
Right.
Like there's no life in you. You're just like an empty person existing on screen.
Oh, I didn't feel that at all. I thought she was just so beaten down by this mess of a child who grows up to do something very bad.
Yeah.
Deeply disturbing movie. John C. Reilly was really good as the dad. Ezra Miller as Kevin. Just a deeply disturbing. It's a bright sunny day. Don't watch this movie. But I thought it was really thought provoking, and I was arguing with the film.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like in a mood, this is not for you.
No.
Please. You
not
have
rainbow
to be in a good mood to watch this movie so you can have some sort of buoyancy with it.
Yeah, this isn't rainbows and unicorns. And so what's next, Steve? You got anything with rainbows?
Well, actually, I guess I'll just announce. So John Carter's coming out, and on Blu-ray in the next week or two. And I did watch all the extra features on it. Well, most of them. I mean, I put in a lot of time listening to the audio commentary, and it's what Disney's got going for it is okay. This is one of those mega disc sets where you get all the extras and stuff, and I dig that shit. I love it. And listen to the audio commentary with Andrew Stanton and the producers and the making of stuff. So I'm not talking about the film, but from a Blu-ray standpoint with the extra features, it was really cool. And it's got this thing that I haven't figured it out yet. I haven't used it yet. It's It's an app that you download from Disney's website that I guess you play this, you start this application while you're watching the film, so you can like experience the film on your computer or extra features, some content or something on your computer while you're watching the film on your set. So it's like some kind of assist, and I haven't done it yet. I don't know what it's all about yet, but it's the first time that I've tried doing something like that. It's like some sort of Disney app thing, which they've done with their other films. I mean, I think I saw that they've got like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs or Tron or something like that, this special Disney app or something. So I'm going to investigate this and get back to you on it.
Did you like the movie?
I wasn't as down on it as a lot of people were.
I want to see it again.
Definitely was pretty slow in the middle.
Right.
Let me tell you, man, it was fucking boring.
Movies like this, sometimes they work better on the small screen and not in 3D.
I recall, okay, when we were watching the press screening, I was not digging the 3D with this. And I think it had a lot to do with the fact that with just motion, right to left motion on the screen, with certain digital films, or maybe it's the projector, but in particular with 3D, I find that it just makes it a blurry experience.
Right.
And the film just didn't seem to move well. It just blurred, and I was really fucking annoyed by it. So this film, I think, perhaps might just be better served by watching it in 2D.
And I also think it's
more vibrant. It's
interesting that the Brattle showed it as they brought it for a one-night screening, saying it's not as bad as everyone says.
Yeah,
so
good
I
for
want
them.
to see it again. I just think I'll give it a fair shot. I didn't really hate it when it first came out. I thought it was kind of a mess, but I'll watch it again just because I think a lot of the mess was just too big, too much 3D.
Right, and I think that a lot of people were put off by the removal of Mars from the title. I mean, because it's like it says something about the tenuousness of the marketing concerns in the Disney, marketing department.
That has nothing to do with the actual film. That's just
exactly
bullshit.
Exactly. It's not the film,
right?
Right. So I'm giving it another chance.
Yeah, me too.
And we'll be back talking about that next time. What do you got?
Oh, we still going?
Yeah, Did I sound like I was closing?
Yeah, I thought you were wrapping it up.
Was I giving you the wrapping up?
That's all right.
Idea.
Coriolanus.
Oh.
Coriolanus. No, Coriolanus. Ralph Fiennes. Directorial debut of the Shakespeare play. Pretty amazing.
Well,
amazing
my interest
stuff.
just dipped.
I know. I think a lot of people are like that.
Whatever.
They're like, "Oh, it's Shakespeare."
Shakespeare again.
Fine. If you're going to be that way, don't bring that luggage in with you.
Who wrote it? Did John Logan write
William
that film?
Shakespeare wrote it.
No. Who did the adaptation? Obviously,
Shakespeare did
the script. John Logan.
Shakespeare did the whole thing.
Because I was at the bookstore the other day,
and
I think that they published the script or a book on the adaptation of it. Wow, this guy has really done his research from Star Trek to Coriolanus.
Well, now you kind of... I'm just going to tell people to go see it.
Go for it.
No,
Why?
I just did.
Why? Did I sap your interest?
No, but I feel like I'm just going to beat my head against a rock.
No.
I don't want to do that.
How do you spell it? C-O-R...
I-O-L-A-N-U-S. Coriolanus.
L-A-N-U-S. Coriolanus.
Yep, I thought it was really well done. Gerard Butler, Jessica Chastain. Great performance by Vanessa Redgrave and Brian Cox. It makes the Shakespeare come alive. It's set in
It makes the shit come alive.
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
All right, see, that's why I didn't want to start. Anyway, if you've got an open mind to these things,
what is it? You actually like a Gerard Butler film?
I like a lot of Gerard Butler films.
2 hours plus of this?
Yeah. You just sat through
I'm just ragging on it for no reason
6
at
days
all.
worth of Robert Downey Sr. bullshit.
Yeah.
So I stand by it. What do you got?
Well, I was going to say, I think we're good. I've got Harold and Maude, which I started watching last night, and I'm very excited to talk about this. But I'm very excited to talk about it and watch it.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm a little stunned as to why you don't like this film. I think I'm fascinated by why somebody completely disagrees with me on a film.
Right.
So I'm going to watch Harold and Maude probably today again. And I'm going to be thinking, like, what is it about this that's not connecting with you? What? I
two
mean,
words? Ruth Gordon.
Okay.
I hate her.
Why?
I think she's annoying. I think she's a horrible, horrible actress. I see her on the screen and my skin crawls.
Really?
Yeah, I've never liked her in anything.
And what's essential about Harold and Maude is the attraction between these two.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And
I think
know
there's a
that's
point
part
in the
of
film
charm.
where somebody refers to it as necrophilia.
Yeah.
Nearly.
I didn't think it was funny. I don't think it's charming. I don't think it's smart or anything.
Cat Stevens doesn't have that effect on you?
Cat Stevens never had that for me.
Oh, come on.
He didn't. Cat Stevens was someone you pretended to like so you could get chicks. No one really liked Cat Stevens.
I really liked Cat Stevens.
Because you wanted to get chicks.
We'll argue about this at another time. But okay, so
I like Cat Stevens.
Cat Stevens.
You can trust me. I won't grab at you.
What the? It's astoundingly great music. It really is.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's not something like I'll listen to Cat Stevens, but then I need to put it away for some years.
Right.
You know, and then you come back to it, you know, and you appreciate it, but then you got to put it away for a long time. You know?
No. I put it away. Period.
Anyway, okay, so Criterion has Harold and Maude.
Steve, look out. I'm being followed by a moon shadow. Moon shadow, moon shadow.
John, if you want to be you, be you. Okay?
I am.
All right?
I am me.
Okay. And I'll be me.
Yeah.
Because that's who I want to be.
I'll have sex with Ruth Gordon. I'll try to kill myself. You know what? I'll watch it this week, too.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. I'm not going to go through all the extras.
So, come on.
Netflix doesn't have the extras.
What Criterion does so wonderfully, are the special features. So you've got a 35. Well, actually, the booklet is more like 40 pages, but the actual written stuff is 35.
Right.
With essays right up and whatnot. New audio commentary by Hal Ashby biographer Nick Dawson and producer Charles B. Mulvihill. Mm-hmm. Illustrated audio excerpts from seminars by Ashby and writer-producer Colin Higgins. Mm-hmm. And a new interview with Yosef Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
And the artwork on the disc is terrific.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
Whatever.
I'm looking through the...
In the booklet.
Yeah, booklet and cover illustration. Illustration and design by Jordan Crane.
Good for Jordan.
Man, I was so happy to...
And you still should be. I'm sure you're going to have a rollicking good time.
I think we're good.
Yes.
You can listen to all of our episodes online. We're at postmovie.net. We're also at post-movie.net, but it's really postmovie.net. And if you have anything to say, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email for whatever reason. You know, if you have something we'd like to review, if you have to just vent,
where do you
if you'd
fall
like
on
to
this
start
whole
a
Harold and Maude
conversation,
thing?
yeah, fucking send us an email. Contact at post-movie.net. And we're also on iTunes, and, you know, even just a like or a rating, just like give us some stars on iTunes. We'd be so grateful. Just anything. A tap, something that says, you've been here, you listened to the podcast, you voted.
Mark your territory.
Yeah, we'd be so grateful for it. You know,
we would.
You can't even express that enough. And follow us on Facebook. Like us. We, sometimes have conversations on there. I'd like it to be more active than it actually is.
Story of my life.
But stuff happens there.
That's right.
So, until next time, I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
So long, everybody.